Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And we've covered everything before we hit record and play tonight. Mileage reimbursement, Sesame Street, it's been all going on.
The sad part is you guys probably think that's an exaggeration, but no, that's actual direct quotes, including Sesame Street, NPR, who you should donate to get the best swag. And if you are a government official, you don't get the best mileage reimbursement.
It was all happening, True well, I tell you what, Joy, let's move away from mileage reimbursement and charitable donations. I believe you have some music news for us.
I don't think me and Tim are actually financially savvy enough to give you guys advice, so let's pretend like that didn't happen. All right. With that being said, my music news is strictly probably hearsay. Can't confirm if any of this is real. Might be on like the Daily News in the UK. But I saw this headline and wanted to know what Tim's thoughts are because I feel like he'll have a lot to say. Oasis is the top-eyed person to record the next James Bond theme.
Oh, goodness me. I mean, let me tell you something. For me, James Bond is Roger Moore.
Of course.
Now, they had James Bonds after that, and the most recent person was Daniel Craig. I watched the first Daniel Craig James Bond film, and it was all right. I watched the second one, and I thought it was terrible. I have no interest in watching any more James Bond films that are made. There's been legends that have done James Bond themes. But Oasis, it tracks. They're a British pop band, sort of Britpop, whatever you want to call it. And, they normally are.
Didn't Whitney Houston do one of the best one, and she's not British?
Which one?
Whitney Houston. Was it Whitney Houston who did one of the
Carly
best
Simon.
Ones? Carly Simon. She wasn't British, though, Tim.
No, but they've had quite a lot of British musical icons.
You know so much more than I do, but I was like, there was one American who did a pretty good job.
Yeah, you had Duran Duran, you had Paul McCartney. Shirley Bassey does Moonraker, but it's... it makes sense from a marketing perspective. I see why they would do that, but it's going to be terrible.
Well, it gets funnier with it. Now, mind you guys. So for those who don't know, I will let Tim give you the FYI on these two things. The notable sources, my peer-reviewed sources here are the Sun newspaper and the Daily News. Or Daily,
the Daily Mail?
That's what it is, Daily Mail.
Oh, Daily Mail is a terrible newspaper.
So,
it's absolutely awful.
What do we tell the American people about the Sun and the Daily News?
They're like a cross between the National Enquirer and Fox News.
Okay, so they're basically, so take that with whatever it is. I cannot confirm or deny, but I just saw this and had to tell Tim. It says, so Amazon MGM, who recently took over the Bond franchise, has put, obviously Noel and Liam Gallagher at the top of their wish list for the track, according to the Sun newspaper. A news outlet, the 007 films are the greatest British franchises, and who would be better to record the theme than one of the greatest ever British bands. I can't say that seriously. I'm gonna get canceled for that, Tim. I'm sorry. Of all the British bands out there, one of the greatest British bands ever, Tim.
No. They wouldn't even rank in my top 100 British greatest bands.
Not at all. Anyway, so I just thought that was so funny. And then this is going to annoy the heck out of Tim. Liam said, and I quote, "I've written a couple of Bond themes. They just haven't got the Bond-esque title, so they just have to tailor the song to the movie." That is not how that works. I'm sorry. I don't even write music, and I know that that is a bad thought process behind that, Tim. You have to watch the movie. You have to feel the movie. You have to understand the movie to write a song for the movie. That is, no, I understand. Soundtracks are put over movies, but if you're writing the theme song for something, you have to understand what you're writing it for. And the fact that he put that makes me so frustrated. Everything about that's annoying.
That's true. But as I've said before, Duran Duran's A View to a Kill, I think that was a song they already had called Dance into the Fire.
Okay, there's always going to be one exception, Tim. But just to say that before you even like thought about the movie is gross, right? I'm not wrong.
Am I right? You're not wrong.
Okay, I know that's probably an Alan Partridge reference, but anyway, with that being said, like, lie. Don't say that to the world, Tim. Just listen to the movie and think, oh, the song I already have looks pretty good. Let's just never mind, forget it. Am I wrong? Like, use some common sense.
No, I said I can understand from a marketing perspective why you'd want that, but please, I mean, not Oasis.
Someone's giving me for getting Whitney Houston and whatever Tim said earlier.
Shirley Bassey.
Very different scenarios. But I knew there was, but my point is just like, Duran didn't go out there and say, oh, we have this great song that probably work in a Bond movie without singing. They just let it play out and then put the song on it, right, Tim?
No, what happened is Simon Le Bon was at a party with Cubby Broccoli and was very drunk and went up to Cubby Broccoli and said, hey, Cubby, when are you going to have some decent music on your films? And Cubby Broccoli said, well, send me a song. Let's see what we can do.
Fair enough. Okay, well, that is a very specific moment in time that Tim would know. But in general, it's kind of like I've talked about. I used to laugh when I was working at a certain company that we're not going to talk about. And I had to have people do these like online trainings. And there'd be like 30 seconds. I mean, literally less than 10 minutes left in the day, Tim. And they finish their little trainings. And they come up and they'd ask me, what do I do next? And usually in their first 1 to 3 days, I want to be like, just sit there quietly. We got 10 minutes left. Like, just don't say anything, right, Tim?
Exactly.
Sometimes some things are better left unsaid. And that's all I'm saying. So anyway, I just wanted to give Tim a laugh that Oasis is being eyed up for the next Bond film. With that being said, I will let Timothy take it from here.
Okay, so first things first, I have some music news, and it's some sad music news. This week, we had to say goodbye to Steve Cropper. He was the famous guitar player from Stax and Booker T and the MGs. He was also an amazing songwriter. I mean, he wrote Dock of the Bay, wrote Midnight Hour. He wrote so many songs, and, he played guitar on so many amazing tracks.
And Sitting on the Dock of the Bay is one of those songs that in my life, you always joke about things that define you as a human, but I've joked about my love for Motown and kind of this kind of song and like these beach music bands, right, Tim? And just all that kind of thing. So that song alone probably defines like 30% of my life. Yeah. That's crazy.
And he was also in the Blues Brothers house band as well. Which
we all know Joy is a huge Blues Brothers fan. But no, that song alone, though, like, it's just funny when you hear, like, and you don't ever really think about it, but Tim can tell you this as someone who's I don't want to say your session guitarist, I don't know why that came to mind, but someone who's played in multiple bands, and like songs that like you hear consistently over and over in your life that tend to be more songs that you play. Like we've talked about, Old Crow Medicine Show, or how much Tim loves Wagon Wheel, or any type of song that you play 1,000 times. And so like for me, that song is one of those. It just like, it's crazy. I didn't know who his name was. Sadly, I didn't know what his name was till he died. They wrote the song, right? And now I'm sitting here reading this, and it just kind of like, I was like, oh man, that's crazy that some one person could have that much of influence. It's like I think of like my music history.
Yeah, he wasn't by his own admission. He was not a flashy guitar player. He was not really a soloist. He played for the song. And, but yeah, his influence was huge. I mean, apparently Keith Richards was asked about him, and they just said, oh, he's just perfect. And like Joe Bonamassa said that, his moves are so often copied. He said, if you haven't heard the name Steve Cropper, you've heard one of his songs.
But what's crazy, though, is like 100%, because we've got Soulmate, which if actually this will come up later in our podcast. I don't know how I know this because it's not my topic, but I do know this. Sam and Davy is one of Joy's favorite. And then you got Booker T, Green Onions. And then like Tim said, you got Old Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay. Like those three songs alone, Tim, make up like 40% of my life.
Yeah.
And that sounds weird. Somebody out there's like, that's so dramatic, but I'm not even kidding. So when I read this, I was like, man, it's weird to think that this guy that I didn't even know his name till he passed away had that much of an influence probably on me.
There we are. He wrote all the songs that you love, and he played some really cool guitar parts too. So, Mr. Cropper, he was 84 when we said goodbye to him. So, rock in peace to you, sir. You are a legend. Your influence will be felt for years to come, and you've left behind such a huge body of work. So, this week is my topic. I thought we would make this an annual event. So, this week's topic is Spotify Wrapped. Now, this year, I feel, is far more pure than last year's. Last year's Spotify Wrapped had a load of band music that I'd play in breaks, which somewhat polluted my Spotify Wrapped. This year, this is more pure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the stats. Then I thought we would go through like my top 20 songs or top 15 songs, depending how much time that we have. So, and the other thing I do know is this year, Joy, you got a Spotify Wrapped.
I did. And there's one specific, so I'm not gonna, this is not my Spotify Wrap episode. It will be focused on Tim's list. But when certain questions that we all got from the AI algorithm pop up, I do have answers. I just have one major one that I can't wait for Tim to guess, and I can't wait for you guys to hear. So with that being said, Tim, take it from here.
Okay, so looking at my Wrap this year, my top 5 artists. The top artist was Queen. The second top artist was Van Halen. The next third artist was the Beatles. Fourth was Metallica. And fifth was Joe Bonamassa.
If I had to write a top 5 for Tim, that would be it.
Yeah,
There's nothing more accurate I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, I was surprised about Metallica. But then
really?
we had the Metallica concert in Blacksburg, and I listened to a lot of music leading up to that, and I listened to a lot of their music after that. So I think that's probably what it was. I also really enjoyed that album, 72 Seasons, and I had that on repeat for work for a long time. So that doesn't surprise me. Joe Bonamassa appears on a lot of my premium shuffles I have because I've been trying to listen to more of his music, and as you can tell by that, he's number 5 in that list.
I don't know, Tim. If I had to write a list for you, that might be that. Might not be in the exact same order, but it's pretty on par.
There we are. Okay, so as I said, my top artist was Queen. I listened to them for 1,747 minutes this year.
It's a lot of minutes.
It is indeed. I also listened on Spotify to 23 audiobooks because they now have audiobooks on there.
Look at you, Tim. Very smart.
Yep, and my top genre of audiobook was biography and memoir, and I do actually like sort of autobiographies and stuff. I've listened to quite a few. I listened to Geddy Lee's recently, Dave Stewart's, and I also listened to Hulk Hogan's.
So the weird thing about that is where me, you, and this is going to sound strange to my mother. My mother loves biographies, autobiographies, and I've talked about like she's giving me like shares autobiography. I've sent Tim different books that my mom sent me, and I feel like you're like me. It's that like learning about music and people that are icons probably that speaks to you.
Yeah, that's what I definitely like. I've never been much for fiction books outside of a few things, but yes, I like biography type stuff.
Yes, that's what I do. All right, what's next, Tim?
Okay, so my top 5 podcasts of this year. The number 1, of course, is the No Name Musiccast.
Yeah, that was mine too.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but this one always comes up at the top because I proof listen every episode as it's published. I listen to it when I'm sitting at work just to check for consistency. There have been times when I've made bad edits. There's been times when I didn't delete the previous file in the DAW I use, and it created a problem. I had to redo it. So I always proof listen to them for our listeners' delight and pleasure. So that one always will be number 1 because I listen to every episode. So number 2 is NPR's Planet Money, which is my favorite podcast by NPR. The problem with Planet Money these days is that it's too much political content. So I often skip a lot of the episodes, so I just don't want to hear that all the time. But it's still number 2 in my list. And then they have an offshoot podcast called The Indicator by Planet Money, and that is number 3.
Fair enough.
Number four is the David Letterman podcast.
Who would have guessed
which is a
that?
fan podcast about all things Dave. And number 5 is Shortwave by NPR, which is a technology science podcast by them.
So once again, that sounds like if I were going to write the top 5 podcasts I think Tim listens to. It's very on brand. And for those who are like, wow, there was 2 random NPR podcasts. He's sitting here in an NPR robe, like physically in front of me, so I can see the reference. It all makes sense. It all makes
Yeah,
sense.
I love NPR. I tried to subscribe to NPR Plus this week, which gives you like ad-free podcasts and gives you bonus episodes. Whoever is in charge of NPR's technology implementation, please get someone else to do it. It is so clunky and awful, and it doesn't make any sense. And I actually bailed on it.
I mean, we'll have to send an official memo. Like somebody will tell somebody it'll happen because obviously NPR's major people who run their whatever Tim said, their plus subscription, listen to this podcast, obviously.
Absolutely. Just make it easier. People will donate to you if you make it easy. It's just, you have to do your donation through a member station and they send you a link and then there's a thing you click on and then you have to link your Spotify account. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
I just bailed on it. Anyway, that's beside the point.
This is a music podcast.
Absolutely. So, as I said, the top podcast I listened to was the No Name Music Cast. I listened to the No Name Music Cast 2,927 minutes.
Weirdly, that's almost identical to what mine was, Tim, like within minutes.
Because you probably listened to it the same.
Yes.
Okay. So, as far as the amount of minutes that I listened to over the entire year using Spotify was 129,331 minutes, which is 89 days.
Mine was very close to that as well, which makes me think we're constantly listening to something all day, every day.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm at home, I'm mostly listening to if I'm sitting in the front room listening to music, I'm listening to my CDs. Occasionally I will put something Spotify like on downstairs.
Yeah.
But if I'm at work, it's mostly Spotify. I do have some music files on my phone, which are not in Spotify, which I'll listen to occasionally. But I always wake up to podcasts again. That's all in Spotify. So the fact that it's that many minutes. There's also another thing in Spotify, right, where it tells you your most listened to day. And it was a day when I was on an airplane when I listened to an entire audiobook and did this and did that. And it's like, wow, you listened to this, that, the other. And I was like, yeah, I was on an airplane for 8 hours.
I find it really interesting whenever, like, what you were saying, like, when it says this is your most listened to day. Another one that's popped up to me is because I use my watch is a Samsung watch, so I can see what days that I have my most steps, Tim. And there'll be days where it's like, you got 23,000 steps a day. I'm like, yeah, because I was in New York City for 14 hours and there was no place to sit. Have you ever done that though? Like with your steps or anything similar where do you go back and look to see what they're talking about? Because I definitely do.
Yeah, I've seen that before when you get an anomaly in your steps.
Same thing though with listening. It's just funny to figure out what you were doing on that day.
Absolutely. Okay, so it told me that my top genre was glam rock. Now I'm assuming they're calling Queen and Van Halen glam rock, probably.
Up for debate, but I see it.
Okay, so this is the interesting one. Before we get into the actual songs which formed my top songs listened to this year, this is the interesting one, and this is what Joy is excited for. So I'm going to tell you mine. So Spotify this year have decided to give you your listening age. We say that's how old they think you are from the music you listen to.
I'm just laughing already because I can't do this. All right, continue.
My listening age, according to the robots at Spotify, is 72.
Okay. Tim, what do you think mine is?
I
would tell you it's older than yours.
80 maybe?
76. And I want to visually show you a dang it. Oh, my screen went off. I don't know how much you can see it. You see it,
I see it. 76. I see
76.
it. I see it.
It's not. No offense if anyone hasn't figured this out. Tim is older than me as a human, like alive, like pretty marginal number, right?
Yeah, just a little bit there.
How did I 70?
I mean,
I,
you listen to quote unquote new music. I don't listen to new music. How did they even come
I
up
know.
with that?
I'm so confused. But to be fair with you, I do listen to new music, but I do listen to a lot of old music as well. So I guess my thing is that since you were really into music from the late 60s, we assume you're an old soul, which I do listen to a lot of Motown and like Wall of Sound kind of stuff, Tim. So maybe that's what that's a reference to. But I have been, since I saw this, I literally looked at it last night. I looked at Charlie. I said, Spotify just said I'm 76. And Tim's like, what do you, Tim, sorry, Charlie was like, what do you mean? And I was like, anyway, all right, we can move along, Tim. 76, though. How does that even, is that what, like, of all the people you know in your life, Tim, do you expect Spotify to age me as 76?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised when mine said 72.
I would have been happy. 76. What does yours say underneath it? Do you have the little message that it says?
My one says, let me pull it back up again. I closed the window. Let me see what it says.
I want to
It
know.
says, since I was into music from the late 60s.
That's what mine says too. But why? 76. Rude. All right, move along. We'll be here. I was just very excited to tell everybody that. And or embarrassed. I don't know what it was.
There we go. All right. Well, I'm going to go through my top songs of 2025. These are the songs that I've listened to the most this year. Now, near the top of the list, there's a lot all by the same band, and I will explain that when we come to it. But my top song of 2025, and this was actually a surprise. I thought it wouldn't be this. I didn't realize I listened to it as much as this. And I'm sure the band in question will be very pleased that I'm at the top of the list, or they're at the top of the list. This is The Beards, and this will be their
course.
magnum opus. You should consider having sex with a bearded man.
I mean, it has come up on our podcast a lot, so maybe that's an influence in your life. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes when you're driving home, sometimes when you need a little bit of pep in your step, I may put the Beards on. And I like this one.
It is
There's
your
a song on
go-to.
the same album called Nothing Better Than a Beard, which is good. That's like their Let It Be moment. But I don't know, as I've said before, this song by the Beards is a really good song that just happens to have comedy lyrics.
I mean, that's fair. You have said it a lot this year, so it makes sense that it'd be like your magnum opus or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting next year whether the Beards still make the top 10. I don't know. We will see. Now, as we move down the list, as we move into number 2 and then 4 and a bunch of other ones, I need to explain this. So they're all by Van Halen, and it's all the album Balance. Now, the album Balance got remastered, and then expanded edition came out. And when the album came out originally in the mid 90s, I wouldn't say I was lukewarm about it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite. But because I bought the box set, and because I bought the expanded edition and bought all the various stuff, it's been really something I've been listening to a lot. So I've been adding it to playlists that I listen to at work. So this year that's had a lot of listens. So as a result of that, it appears quite heavily in my top 10. Tracks from Balance appear as number 2, number 4, number 7, number 10, number 13, number 14. It's just because I put that album in my work playlist, and it's just been playing. Now I'm not listening to it all day, every day, but
It's
it's
just
enough.
background noise.
It's enough to do it. I mean, like, for example, I listened to the Beard song 19 times. I listened to Not Enough 13 times, Feeling 13 times, Seventh Seal 11 times, Amsterdam 9 times, Can't Stop Loving You 9 times. So it's just there's a lot of that in my top 10 just because I've really been enjoying that album this year.
That was kind of something that happened to me last year. I got a lot of overset like things from my life, you know what I mean? Taking over in certain moments and like taking over my rap, which my rap wasn't real because I didn't get one last year. I didn't make it up myself, but Tim gets the idea.
Yeah, you was denied a rap, but this year you do have a rap.
I do, and I'm 76 years old. 76, Tim. I might as well be the crypt keeper. Wasn't that Keith Richards? Richard. I'm just gonna morph into him on air. All right, continue.
Maybe. Okay. So coming in at number 3 on this This is a very funny song. Now, I've listened to this song 13 times. Hannah would tell you I listened to this song 33 times. But
I understand that as a married woman because I'm feeling about half the music Charlie listens to. Continue.
this is the song by John Colton Mahoney, and this is the song Ballad of Evil Knievel. Now, I listened to a
Your rap
podcast.
is so interesting, Tim.
Yeah.
What?
I listened to a podcast called Bizarre Albums, and one of those bizarre albums was this Evil Knievel album. And basically, it was like the story of Evil Knievel in a documentary form, but it has this song in it about Evil Knievel called The Ballad of Evil Knievel. And I liked it when I heard it. And then it became a bit of a thing in our house where every now and again I would put it on and see if Hannah would notice it was playing in the background. And she'd like, oh, don't play that again. And then like at work, I would ping her a message in the instant messenger system with a GIF of Evil Knievel. And she says, I can't get that song out of my head. Stop it. So we ended up listening to the Ballad of Evil Knievel quite a lot.
So my question though is this from childhood trauma because of your Evil Knievel thing breaking?
No, it's just Evil Knievel adjacency, I think. You know, Evil Knievel is always in my mind from the trauma of the Evil Knievel, a toy
That's
I
what I'm
had.
saying. The trauma has affected you long term,
Yeah,
life term.
but this song, it's just like a sickly ballad
You have to
about...
explain what the Evil Knievel trauma is now for those who don't know.
To cut an incredibly long story short, I had one as a kid.
That's what we need.
I didn't get a chance to use it because it was fired down the stairs and it broke and it never worked the same again.
And it was on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, that's correct. And then years after the fact, they reissued them like 10 years ago, and I bought another one. And I have one up on my shelf right now.
And for those who aren't long-term no-name music cats, I'm just saying, it feels like there might be some connection here from childhood trauma. Just, you know.
Absolutely. But it became a funny thing that like Hannah and I would do, and I would just put it on in the background, and she would just like freak out. So, I can't get it out of my head. I can't, you need to stop it. You need to turn it off.
I mean, is it a catchy tune? I don't actually know what it sounds like.
No, it's a sickly ballad that's probably not terribly good in the grand scheme of things. But...
All right. Well, I imagine an earworm with that statement. All right. What's next?
Okay, so coming in at number 5 and number 6 are two more Van Halen tracks. Now, these are actually 5, 6, 8, and 9. One of these comes from the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album, which is right now, but the other ones, Can't Get This Stuff No More, Humans Being a Me Wise Magic, come from Van Halen's Best of Volume 1. These are tracks I really like by Van Halen, so it doesn't surprise me that they've gone on rotation. This is a best of album. There is mostly tracks that you've heard of 1,000 times, but there were 3 songs on there. 1 by Sammy Hagar, 2 by David Lee Roth, which were brand new and exclusive to this album. And I remember when this album came out, this compilation, everyone was very excited to hear this new music. And those new tracks are really, really good, especially the Sammy track's good, but Can't Get This Stuff No More, the David Lee Roth track, and Me Wise Magic, the David Lee Roth track, are really, really good. And I wish they would have made more music like that, but they didn't. These tracks are basically one-offs or two-offs.
On a random note, I saw when I was looking at my music news, did you see Wolfgang Van Halen is going to do, isn't it Mammoth or something like that? He's going to do a 2026 North American tour.
Yeah, he's out there getting it done now. I own all 3 of his albums. I purchased his most recent album, The End, maybe a few weeks ago and listened to it. His musicianship is absolutely stellar. He plays all the instruments on his albums. He played bass in Van Halen for a number of years, replacing Michael Anthony. But like he's gone out on his own because his father, Eddie Van Halen, sadly passed away a few years ago, and he's sort of gone out on his own, sort of making his own kind of music. He doesn't want to live in the past. He doesn't want to rehash Van Halen songs. He wants to be his own thing, which is fair enough. The only thing about him, his voice isn't my favorite.
I didn't know he was playing all the parts. I knew that, obviously I knew who he was, and I just saw the thing about the headline, but I didn't know if he was singing everything. So is it basically him doing almost everything, or does he have a backing band?
He works with a producer who helps sort of form his ideas.
Okay.
But as far as songwriting, singing, instrument playing, everything is all him. He's a one-man band completely. But and I said, he's a fine singer. He's a much better singer than I will ever be. But that's the only thing when I listen to it, it sticks out a little bit for me because it's not my favorite vocalist to listen to.
Well, and a lot of times singing and playing an instrument, I think personally, is two very different things. So it doesn't surprise me. Like, you know what I mean? They're different skills, right, Tim? Yeah, obviously the ear is there, but they're different skills. But I don't know much about him. I didn't know he was like, I mean, obviously I probably understood maybe in some songs in the record studio, he was like doing all the parts, but like seeing him live, that does add a weird element, right? Because no one
Yeah,
can do all of that live.
he tours with a band who play all those parts. It's just on his recorded works he's playing all the instruments and doing everything.
But he would probably be the one singing if you went and watched him live too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Interesting.
he would play guitar and he would sing. That's correct.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I've never really listened to him, to be honest. I just remember seeing the headline recently.
There we go. Okay. All right. Well, I'm skipping through to number 11. This is my favorite Rolling Stones track of all time. This is a track which is featured in the Knight Rider episode Goliath from season 2. And this is the Rolling Stones, as I said, and Gimme Shelter.
I mean, it's one of everybody's favorites, I think, right? Surely.
Yeah. I mean, in the realm of the Stones, I really don't think it gets any better than this.
It's very top tier. And that I just a shot away. I will say when one of those things that lives like rent free in your head, my brain does literally just go just a shot away, just a shot away. Like that part is just something that I sing ratably all the time, Tim. And it's one of probably top 10 like songs that I think probably is playing in a CVS, as Tim will tell you, because Joy listens to all her music from a CVS and she's 76 years old. But just that part, nothing else in that song, but something about the way he screams it in the chorus right there, it works so well.
Yeah. And I said Mary Clayton doing the backing vocals on this song.
Oh yeah, the lost forgotten person that like has done like 1,000 things that no one ever pays attention to.
Yeah, but she is great on this track. She is absolutely fantastic. And the best bit, we've mentioned before, when she's singing that Rape Murder, she blows her voice out. And then Mick Jagger in the background goes, woo!
I mean, it's such an intense song, though it works.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. These days, of course, you'd fix that in the mix. But, back in these days, they'd record that. It's great. Keep it in.
Well, if you ever, if you actually pay attention to the topic to the song, though, I feel like it works really well, too.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
All right, what's next, Tim?
So number 12 on my list of most listened to songs on Spotify this year. This is a song which I love, Justified and Ancient by the KLF featuring Tammy Wynette.
What a weird. I've never heard you say any of those words ever. Like, not once have those words come out of your mouth, Tim. He said that.
Are you not familiar with the KLF?
I know what they are, but like I've heard their music, but I don't feel like I've ever heard you say much about them on this podcast. And then out of nowhere, it's just like, yeah, it seems obvious. This is one of my top 30 songs.
Yeah, I got very fascinated with the KLF. They are a very interesting organization. There's the two, Bill Drummond and I forget the name of the other guy. Something Ward and Drummond or anyhow. But they were like arty people, and then they were making like house music, and then they created a novelty hit.
Okay, I mean, I think we've talked about them at like, you know what I mean though, Tim, but you said that so much like I should have just expected them to be on your top list.
Yeah. But their song, Justified and Ancient, featuring Tammy Wynette, is absolutely fantastic. She says that Tammy Wynette in the song says they're justified and they're ancient and they drive an ice cream van.
But, okay, so for those who don't know the history of this, I'm going to explain to you why that makes me laugh so hard. It was like the time sometimes Tim will say something so nonchalant that has no preempted to it that I'm not expecting it. And the biggest one was when he said to me about what happened to Princess Diana. And he said it like every person who's ever been in England just knew that. Without saying what he said he thinks happened to her. And you just did that with that song. Like, it was so obvious. I should have known it would be on your Spotify Wrapped. And I think we have talked about the KLF like for like 30 seconds. And I don't know why that was so funny to me. I was like, that's just the most random thing for you to say that you've listened to. However many, does it tell you how many times you've listened to that song?
Yeah, I can tell you. It's funny. I'm looking at this on the computer version, and it doesn't give you the play counts. But if you pull it up on your phone, it does. So what do we have? We have 11 listens. in 2025?
It's so random because, like, I mean, you've talked about them a little bit more about like their artistry and I guess their, anti-politicism protest kind of thing going on there. But like, he just said it nonchalantly, like I should have not even questioned it. And then when I did question, it's like, do you know who they are? I'm like, yeah, I know who they are. But it goes back to that time we were sitting at our old work, and Tim just said, "This is what I think happened to Princess Diana," and he said it like it was so obvious, and I'm like. Does everybody in England know? And that's what it felt like you just did again. I want you to know. I'm going to hold that over your head because it's so funny when you do that. All right, anyway, what's next?
Okay, I've skipped down the list again now to number 15. This is a song I rediscovered this year, and I played a number of times. And in fact, I can tell you, I played it 9 times this year. This is from ABBA Voyage, and this is the song Don't Shut Me Down. Now, this was their lead single from the new ABBA Voyage album. And I don't know, it came up like once in the middle of the year sometime. And I thought to myself, I've forgotten how good this is. And you listen to it, and it could have come from an ABBA album in the 70s. It is that good.
No, what's funny is ABBA came up on my Spotify Wrapped, and it was the Voyage album, probably because of the podcast and us talking about it so much. But the song that I got so much was, so you got Don't Shut Me Down, but I got When You Dance With Me. That was my top song.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting, though, because of all the ABBA songs, I wasn't expecting something from the Voyage album, and I got one.
Yeah, it's funny how this rap pulls it together, because you think to yourself, oh, I didn't listen to Voyage that much. And then, but this is data. This is hard facts. I mean, is what it is,
For me, it's like, I feel like if I was going to pick an ABBA album, I'm always going to go with The Visitor, right? I've said that many times on the podcast. Him, me have talked about this at nauseam, that he kind of agrees with me. We have a weird obsession with The Visitor. So it's like, in my brain, that's what I go to. And then it was like, Voyage? And I'm like, really?
Oh. Yeah, it's strange like that.
Anyway, continue. But yes, I get what you're saying, because that happened to me with this album. I was like, weird. Follow the ABBA, right?
Exactly. Okay. Now, coming in at number 16, this is surprising. So this is Michael Jackson's Human Nature. Now, I could have sworn I listened to Thriller 52 times this year, the song Thriller.
Exactly.
But for some reason, it's picking out Human Nature.
That's the thing, is like, you're like, okay, I think Michael, I'm going to think of whatever, insert my favorite Michael song. But that's not what happens on your Spotify Wrapped. And so, Human Nature's a great song. Love that song.
It is a great song. It has Steve Lukather playing guitar on it. It's got most of Toto playing all the instruments on this track. And yeah, I'm just surprised. A great track. It's just very surprising that it had the amount of plays that it did.
Even for me, thinking about you as a person, Tim, I wouldn't have thought that Human Nature would be the top. Maybe Billie Jean or anything, maybe even Black and White, but Human Nature is kind of an interesting choice.
Yeah, I think I had Thriller on heavy rotation, if you will, for a few weeks this year. So maybe that's where it came from. But I'm just surprised it picked that track because, like I said, the title track Thriller itself, I would have thought would be near the top.
Fair enough. I mean, you did spend a lot of time, though, on YouTube looking up like the 4K Thriller, so maybe that broke into it. I don't know.
It could be. I mean, the 4K remaster of Thriller
that was
on
mostly
YouTube.
just me trying to justify it to him.
Yeah, it's amazing. And if you can watch it on a computer monitor, not on a TV, one that's a really high resolution computer monitor, there is so much detail, the detail that you could never previously see. The fact that when he's doing that dolly shot with Ola Ray, he has a pair of sunglasses on his hip. And when he comes out the theater at the beginning with all the Vincent Price posters on it, you can see the person in the background selling popcorn.
I mean, what a very specific thing to tell everybody. But if you go watch it, it makes sense because you will be, because if you've watched, the Thriller, you know what I mean, music videos and stuff, you're always looking for those details. And ever since Tibbs told me this, when I watched the 4K version, I'm like, oh yeah, I see it now. There's the popcorn dude.
Yeah, but I say it only works on a computer monitor. A TV typically doesn't have a good enough resolution to see that.
All right. Well, anyway, Tim didn't get Thriller. He got Human Nature. What's that?
Okay, number 17. Is Ian Dury and the Blockheads Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick. Now, is this a track that you're familiar with?
You've talked about it here before, but I don't know exactly what it is. Like, I've heard you say those words before, but I wouldn't be able to identify it.
Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me. Hit me.
I need
No?
you to isolate that audio and make it the beginning of this podcast with no reference. Just hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me. Hit me. I don't know. Feels very specific, but I don't know, Sam. Wouldn't
Yeah,
recognize it.
it was a song which I was into, obviously, this year because it appears on this list.
Hmm.
But I made a few playlists for traveling when I was tried to travel to England those two times, and it
Yeah.
was on those playlists. So it's probably come from there. But this is a great track, though.
Were you asleep on the plane and it was still playing in the background
No, if I'm
over and
sleeping on
over?
the if I'm sleeping on the plane, I turn the music off. But you're waiting in airports. There's a lot of aeroplane time, etc., etc.
So here's the question for you, Tim. Can you sleep on an airplane?
Just about.
Like, are you like, you can do like a good 2 hours? I can't at all. I can make it like 10 minutes and then I'm back awake every time. I can't sleep on an airplane at all.
Yeah, I can do an hour or two tops, probably. I mean, when you do the red eye flights and they drop the cabin lights down and you
Yeah.
recline your seat back a bit, I mean, I can probably do an hour or two. I think on those two trips I did, maybe an hour here, an hour there. It wasn't a lot. I mean, I spent a lot of that time listening to audiobooks, to be fair.
I just like, I do that thing where you're like, so we're talking specifically from coming from probably Charlotte, North Carolina, right, Tim, to Germany is basically what we're talking about. So it's going to be, how many hours is it? 8, 9?
Something like that, yeah.
And so generally, like when I'm on those planes, I think like everybody else can fall asleep, or it seems like everybody else is asleep. I make it 5, 10 minutes. I kind of nod off for a second, back awake. I will try everything. I can do the overnight. They shut all the cabins off, like the lights off and everything. I don't know what it is. I can't sleep on a plane. Can't.
Yeah, maybe because it's just not a natural environment. Because normally you'd be in your bedroom, the lights are off, you're comfortable, and then you're in a plane with 300 plus other people, and there's noise, and there's engine noise, and there's stuff, and the person
Man,
beside you is shuffling around. I mean, it makes sense.
it does, but I'm always jealous when I see people like around me who are all asleep. But for some
Yeah,
reason,
some
I
some
just
people
can't.
take Ambien and stuff though to help them with that.
Yeah, I have to think about. Maybe I should just start doing drugs when I get on planes. Obviously,
Just do a Benadryl. If you did a Benadryl, you'd be fine.
I did like the medicine for like motion sickness, which I know does make you sleepier. I've done that a few times, but maybe I just need to do something harder, Tim. Get back into my drug life.
There we go.
All right, please don't isolate that audio and put it on the internet, everyone. I'm making a joke. No, I never really think to like douse yourself up though, but I guess you're right. There probably are a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, it's possible, and also people get very drunk, which has the same thing.
But the thing about it is I think drinking in the air is horrible because you get drunker, right?
Yeah, altitude, the effects of alcohol and other
It's very
stimulants.
strong.
Yeah, it's even more. The effect is even worse.
And I have like ear problems. I get nauseated very easily. So alcohol and flying for me, I'd rather not. No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I rarely drink anyway, but I'm not drinking on airplanes.
I mean, you have to just kind of, well, you get very motion sickness too as a human. So I imagine that would be rough.
Well, do you know what? The funny thing is, aeroplanes typically don't give me motion sickness. The only time I feel uncomfortable is through bad turbulence, but during the normal motion of an aeroplane, it doesn't give me motion sickness.
Do you think a car is way worse then?
Yeah, I've had terrible motion sickness in cars as a passenger.
I guess I've
Absolutely
never really
awful.
thought about it. Huh.
Yeah, when an airplane's making its descent,
Yeah.
sometimes because you can feel the airplane start coming down, that sometimes makes me feel a bit not great. And I normally at that point I'll turn off my music or
But I
audiobook
think
and
everybody
I'll
does
close
a
my
little bit.
eyes. Yeah, but as a rule, the bulk of the airplane journey, I feel fine.
I feel like once you settle, though, it's probably just you get used to it. But obviously, going up and down, your ears pop and all that good stuff, which affects your stomach and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
not an audio podcast or a plane podcast, aerospace podcast.
as humans, we're not supposed to travel at 600 miles an hour in a vibrating plastic tube. I mean, that's basically where we are with that.
Runs on slingshots, as I've said on this
Exactly.
podcast. Literally, it's based off of thrust. And once you hit a certain thrust, you should just keep thrusting. Right? Is that not basically the science, Tim?
Well, it's all to do with lift and wings and air pressure and jet
Something.
engines and
And
stuff.
our cars are on explosions, everyone. We're barely hanging on by a string here.
Well, basically, airplanes is explosions, but bigger ones.
Great.
but a different kind of explosion.
Another thing, it is, but it isn't. So like we're talking about combustion explosions, and we're talking about like a car, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it's literally like you just thrust yourself out there, Tim.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
a car is little explosions that's moving pistons. An aeroplane is a jet, so it's explosions which is moving pressurized air.
This will be the next ongoing debate because you know I'm going to spend so much time focused on this. Because for those who have not listened to the podcast before, I spend way too much time focused on the fact that we let any person over the age of 16, basically, if they have common sense, to drive around with metal boxes that just explode.
Yeah.
And then the other thing they run on is dinosaur bones. What?
Yeah. It's dead dinosaur goo.
It sounds so stupid and fake. And then we have to add the fact that now I'm thinking more about the other thing is light years. We've talked about that ad nauseum, but it's the fact that I've recently gotten into figuring out how airplanes work, and the more you understand about how these things work, the less it makes sense to. It sounds fake.
It does. The thing is, you have to remember about aeroplanes is it seems ridiculous that you've got this thing which is flying through the air at a very fast speed. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem that that thing could stay up there as heavy as it is with all those people. And it could maintain that altitude for that period of time. The way you need to think of it is as at altitude and speed, air reacts in a similar manner to water. Now, if you had that same structure of an aircraft wing, and you had it under the water, it would make sense to you because you would see that how that could travel under the water. Air at altitude and speed operates in almost the same way.
I mean, it makes sense because thrust from the engine pushes the plane forward, right? You get that airflow that goes over the wings. Like, it does make sense, and I understand it, but it is very weirdly when you think about it in a tangible way. But I understand what Tim's saying. You've got thrust from the engines pushing the plane forward, then that creates a weird airflow over the wings, and then they can, like, reach lift, right? So it makes sense as far as water goes. See, I'm joking, but it's because when I think about these things logistically and you really start to learn how they work, it doesn't actually, it almost makes it worse, Tim, when you learn how they work. Because you're like, what?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the engineering that goes on to make an aeroplane work, it would blow your mind. I mean, it really would.
I probably could never mentally handle it. So anyway, I would be on this podcast going, Tim, can you? And Tim would be like, yeah, I can. And I'm like, are you sure? Anyway, what's next? That was a very long way to say, I don't remember what song we were even talking about.
There's a famous David Lee Roth quote, and it's something to the effect of, if you knew what went on behind the scenes at your favorite Chinese restaurant, you'd never eat in there again. It's
true.
It's not just Chinese restaurant, but just in life, if you knew what went on behind the scenes, you'd never leave your house.
Also, when you become an adult, you realize the adults are not adults, Tim. We're all just figuring it out every day.
100%.
All right, what's next?
Okay, I'm going to skip through to number 19. This is a track called David Lee Roth by a band called the Fuglies. Now, this is a very small independent band. If you look up on Spotify, which I'm going to do now, they don't get a lot of listens per month. They actually only get 85 monthly listeners. This is a very small band. I purchased the CD of the album this comes from. And the reason being, the track David Lee Roth is Where is David Lee Roth? You know that we need him now more than ever. Now, David Lee Roth had a series on YouTube for a while, and this was his theme music to his YouTube series. And I really liked it from there. And I did some research and found out it was an actual song by this band called the Fuglies. When we saw David Lee Roth this year, he was in Bristol. So I made a playlist to drive to Bristol and made a playlist to drive back from Bristol. And I added this track like every fifth song. Because, we're going to go and see David Lee Roth, and this is his anthem. So it makes sense that the David Lee Roth song appears in my Spotify rap this year.
That's just another one of those weird things that you probably didn't predict, but looking back, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I see.
Yeah, the amount of times I listen to this, Where is David Lee Roth? track is fantastic.
See, I thought it would be just like Paradise or something. I don't know what I would have thought, but not this. That is funny. So, did David Lee Roth lose his house in the Pasadena fires or whatever, Tim? Do I imagine that being a thing, or do you
No,
know?
his home, which is called the Mojo Dojo, no, luckily escaped that.
Okay, thank you. There was headlines about him though, because he does live right there, I think.
Yeah, he lives in Pasadena, California. He's lived there his entire life. I mean, he's lived in Japan and he's lived in here, there, and everywhere, and he's gone for adventures all over the world. But yes, he calls Pasadena, California, his home.
I mean, he has a song called California Girls with,
Yeah,
so it
but as
makes
we
sense.
said, that's an excuse to make a video with attractive models in it.
Isn't it like 70% of the music he put out? Let's be honest.
I mean, there you go.
It's not really that weird, but anyway. So I was just asking because I do remember him being from Pasadena, and I remember there was headlines saying David Lee Roth's house. What is it looking like? But it didn't actually click it. So glad it was fine. Now, with that being said, I would not have expected this song to be on there, but it makes sense when Tim gave us the story.
There we are. A full story was given to you, Joy, and now you are fine with that.
Weird how it affects your end of the year wrap though, because your mental brain is like, I swear I listened to insert another song way more from this artist.
Yeah, you would think that, but the facts and the stats don't lie, Joy.
Yeah, I know numbers are real or something.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Number 20 on my list.
All
That
right.
would be by Phil Oakley and Giorgio Moroder, and that is Together in Electric Dreams.
That is not at all what I would expect either. Is it from the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, that
Electric
makes sense
Dreams is
though.
a fabulous film.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a film buff would tell you it's a terrible film, but for me, it is a fabulous film. It was shot in Twickenham Film Studios and San Francisco, and a part of it was filmed in Addleston in England as well.
I mean, it's a very quintessential 1980s movie about a girl falling in love with a computer.
Yeah, I mean, as you should,
And I've definitely watched it, but I wouldn't recognize the music. But it does not surprise me that would end up on Tim's rap. I mean, it kind of does, but it doesn't. Not really. It's very on brand, actually.
Well, it's
Anyway, what's your next song, Tim?
okay. Coming in at number 21 is Kiss and Crazy Crazy Nights. Now, this surprises me because my go-to track with them is probably God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too from the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack. So I'm surprised that Crazy Crazy Nights came in there.
I'm surprised a Kiss song came in there in general, to be honest with you. Like, obviously, I know you know who they are, you know what they are, you know what kind of music they put out, but I don't imagine you listening to Kiss, Tim. It just doesn't come to mind.
I listen to a Kiss on occasion. I had a Kiss discovery year. The first year I was involved with Spotify, I listened to a lot of Kiss because I didn't have much on my computer and I was sort of getting into their catalog. I do appreciate the work of Kiss. It's not one of my favorite bands. I do regret never seeing Kiss live. I mean,
Yeah.
they toured and toured and toured, and I never had the experience of seeing Kiss perform.
Did I ever tell you I get ripped off with Kiss tickets?
Yeah, I think you were supposed to go and you never got a refund or something like that.
No, stupid Kiss. But it does make sense now what you have that glam metal in your top thing, Tim.
There we
I
are.
guess
That's what it is.
Kiss would fall under that category, right? Glam metal?
Yeah, mate. Probably, I suppose. I think it's the Van Halen and the Queen stuff that sort of tipped the balance there.
Yeah, anything with big hair really could fall under glam metal.
Exactly.
And leotard looking esque, probably cheetah print on the top, red on the big hair,
As David Lee Roth would say, tactical spandex.
Anyway, I hope that was a visual everyone got. I didn't do that for nothing. All right, what's next, Tim?
Okay, coming in number 22 is a song which I actually mentioned on the podcast a number of months ago. This is Royal Republic with their metal cover of Staying Alive.
Still random that this is in your top.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you listened to it that much this year?
Yeah, I listened to it an awful lot. Well, I can tell you, I listened to it 9 times.
Do you feel like it was? See, that's weird because 9, if you listen to it an awful lot in your brain, that almost feels like that's low, right?
Yeah, I would have thought I'd listened to it 20 times, not 9 times.
Of course, there is the chance that maybe you were listening to it on other sources like YouTube or something at some point.
That's true. I did watch the video a number of times because the video is fabulous.
Because that happens to me. Like I use YouTube Music because I do have YouTube Premium, so we don't have to watch all the ads, right? Because since
Hmm.
we've talked about it, if you have ads on YouTube, it's basically miserable. Like why are you even watching it at that
Yeah,
point?
YouTube without premium is basically unwatchable.
So I do play for YouTube Premium, and Charlie listens to all of his music on YouTube Premium. It's just
Hmm.
his select. He didn't want to pay for anything else. He didn't want to add an extra app to his phone, whatever it is. So almost everything you get from Charlie is YouTube Music. But anyway, so sometimes I like have YouTube up on my computer, and I end up listening to a lot of songs there.
Hmm.
So I feel like that probably happens to you too, because I think Hannah has YouTube Premium, right, Tim?
She does. I mean, she uses the music part of YouTube. I use YouTube for video content. But, as I embrace the Spotify world, I want it all in one place. So if I'm listening to solely to music and it's coming from a streaming source, it'll always come from Spotify.
That just confirms that Charlie and Hannah are basically living the same life as we've actively talked about on this podcast because
I
he
believe they
strictly
are.
listens to his music there too.
Yeah, well, she had Spotify for the longest time before I ever embraced it because there was a podcast that she enjoyed that was exclusive to Spotify. And when it stopped being a Spotify exclusive, she cancelled it and then just got it on like Apple Podcasts or something like that. And
Makes
then
sense.
when we took the decision as a family to get YouTube Premium, she added the music component so she could listen to stuff on there.
Well, there you go. I mean, that all checks out. I'm just saying, her and Charlie are basically living the same life. And I wonder if their music taste would be, I don't know though. Charlie's not into clapping songs, so debatable.
Hannah does like her clapping songs.
Anyway, shout out to Hannah and clapping. What's next?
Well, this one, it was obvious it was going to be on this. Coming at number 23. This is from the album Mac Daddy. This is from Sir Mix-a-Lot, and it's the song Baby's Got Back.
How many discos have you been playing out there?
No, as you know, I don't like rap music. I really don't. But there's something about a novelty hit, and
I
this
know.
song is fabulous.
It's the most, I mean, it's probably, I don't even think it's on my list. Maybe that's why Tim's younger than me. Because, I mean, I can rap this song like no other. I know every lyric to every, it's just really good.
It is. And do you know what? This year, I purchased a Funko Pop of Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I have
And
that
it's
one.
yeah, and it's funny because in the video he's standing on two massive butt cheeks,
Yes.
and the Funko Pop has got a miniature butt cheek plinth that he sits on. It is hilarious.
I have that exact Funko, and it's kind of a play on like two record tables. I hope it's not lost on everybody. There's some nuance to the butt cheek anyway. Not that anybody thought that this was a podcast to give you that kind of information, Tim, but I hope that makes sense. But no, I love the song too, so I'm not surprised it's there. That's also, but to be honest with you, Tim, it's not on mine. That might be why you're seven. How old were you?
72
Three.
was it? 72.
Oh, well, I was 76. So that might be why I wasn't listening to enough Baby Got Back this year. I'll work
There we
on it
go.
next year.
There we are. Well, I tell you what, Joy, I'm going to do two more, which will take us up to number 25.
Okay.
So, number 24. This is a song I struggle to pronounce, and it's by Adriano Celentano, I think is the artist. And the track is called Prison Colon Cine Co Suol.
Okay. And this is?
This is an Italian artist. I believe this song is from the 70s, I believe.
Okay.
And he wanted to make a song that sounded like English, but he couldn't speak English. So
Oh.
he says nonsense words all the way through in ways that he thought is what English sounded like.
You kind of mentioned this once before, but how many times did you listen to this in a year?
8 times.
Really? What an oddly random.
Yeah, I forget how I discovered it. I discovered it, and then
What?
sometime after the fact, I heard that it was part of a TV commercial in the UK, but that is not where I discovered it from. I discovered it from a completely different place, and I really cannot remember where I did discover it. But it's actually a really good song. But he's just going, hey, it's all libido wambo and a bird, all right. And it makes no sense. And then there's like I think it's his wife or something comes in with a female voice, and then she starts going on in this nonsense words that supposedly might sound like English. It's fabulous. Hannah says it hurts her head.
I have no idea. There was so much that you just said. Hannah says it hurts her head. I heard Hannah says it hurts her head. It all checks out. There's a lot happening in that song, Tim.
Yeah. I would check it out. As I said, I don't even know how to say it. Colin NCN Sankoa.
What an interesting concept, though, to think that someone who doesn't speak English, this is how they hear English. Because, there's certain things like, obviously we hear Russian and we hear German sometimes we joke about how it sounds really aggressive, right? So it's an interesting concept.
I can't speak Russian, but if I were, I didn't know I'm skiing down, it sounds like Russian to me, but a Russian speaker would be like, what are you talking about?
And so it's interesting to hear what someone who's not an English speaker naturally, or you know what I mean, an Italian say what they think English sounds like. Because a lot of times, and those obviously we all know this, America's behind by language skills by light years, right? So most other countries speak English pretty consistently, but at least probably one of those areas you will find someone who doesn't really know English and only speaks Italian. So kind of funny to hear that from an outside perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we are very much spoiled in England, Australia, and the United States, where our native language is English. I mean, each country and each, Canada, everywhere has like variations of the English language, but it's effectively the same thing, give or take. But we're very spoiled that we speak English because more or less the rest of the world speaks English too. The second language mostly across the world is English. And even things like if you're a German pilot flying into China, you will address the tower in English.
Because it's the international business language.
Correct.
Yep. And so, but it's just funny because like a lot of other countries obviously all speak English, but you never really hear them say, I don't speak in English and this is what it sounds like to me. Just a very funny perspective to take on it. And the more you say that now, I feel like I need to go listen to it.
Yeah, I would recommend you hearing it because it is such a funny track.
All right. Did you want to do one more or was that the end? I don't remember.
I'm going to close this out at number 25. This would be from Tom Jones, from the album Tom Jones Sings a Lady. And this is the track Puppet Man. Now, Puppet Man has the best bass line of any Tom Jones song.
I knew that was coming because Tim's been very active about his Tom Jones Puppet Man.
I love Puppet Man by Tom Jones. When Hannah and I are out in the car sometimes, I'll put Puppet Man on. Because my car has the Siri thing on the steering wheel, and you press it and you say, play Tom Jones Puppet Man. And it'll say, Puppet Man, now playing on Spotify. And it plays it for you. It's the best thing ever.
It's his little poo-pa, poo-pa. It's such a Tom Jones. I love it. It's just a better version of that than I did, but it's very Tom Jones-esque.
It is. It's absolutely fantastic. But anyhow, that is my top 25 songs from my Spotify Wrapped. I'm sure Joy will be doing a companion episode soon at some point. But I'm very pleased this year. This is a really good representation of everything I listened to this year, I feel. Last year was polluted by Led Zeppelin songs from a playlist I used to use with the band. I'm no longer in that band, and I no longer play the background music, so I didn't have anything to do with it.
I was incredibly... What's funny is when you said your top 5... like artists, I was like, yes, that makes 100% sense. But then when you started saying the songs, they're like, nope, didn't predict that at all. Now, with that being said, the next episode will be Joyous Raft because she has to come up with a topic the next time we record. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of like, I guess something to motivate you to want to go to the next episode. I'm going to give you with my top Spotify rap song, and it is 27 listens, which is high because a lot of the things Tim was about 10, 11, 8, 9. I don't feel like dancing the Scissor Sisters.
Ah, interesting. Well, that's a little teaser for you listeners for the next episode.
It is one of my favorite go-tos, but yeah. So with that being said, I'm a 76-year-old who listens to the sister. I can't say it now. Tim, say it.
It would be the Scissor Sisters, Joy.
What Tim said. I don't know any other 76-year-olds who are listening to that, but with that being said, bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.